Hello, this is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called... I don't know what it's called. It's Study After George Inness. I've been calling it Sunset Orchard, but then in the process of trying to find this reference again, I get a completely different painting. So I knew titles weren't very important to old George Inness, so... Anyway, this is the sped up version of the full length, and sorry if there's some redundancy there. You would have seen maybe, I don't know, the drawing portion already. What can I say? I'm a completist. Yeah, so this is the whole painting session sped up. So if you didn't see the drawing portion or you were like, oh, that's so boring. Oh my god. That's so boring. It's just a drawing. Where's the color? If that was you, you've got the whole thing here sped up. Now, I would say I've got the painting, 85, 90% there. There's a few more things I'd like to do. It gets problematic when you're working wet on wet to adjust things, so I'll let it dry. And there is some magic that will occur when I do the glazing, and I'll be sure and share that. It probably won't be a very long session, so that might be a little 15-minute video anyway. Yeah, so what did I do this study again? And I will make a note about that link. I'll try and put the link for the textured version, which is slightly smaller, in the notes under the video, so that you can maybe compare approaches. I just finished this today, so I will say it's a very different approach, and much of that might be down to the in fact, this is a smooth board, and the last one was done in a textured board. This is also a little lighter color, although very much the same sort of tone in that it's in that burn umber range, I would say. Burn umber, raw umber, somewhere in there. Anyway, one of the reasons why I haven't had much stuff up is just dealing with the flood damage in the studio, and they've had to tear my wall apart. I was able to get things kind of cobbled together so I could paint, and I went in today to do so, even though it's Sunday, but I figured, hey, I already lost Friday and Saturday, so, I could and did do some work today, and I'm real happy with the way this turned out. One of the things I maybe shared a little bit on the video with just the drawing was that I did a very loose grid. It's a large grid. Be the easiest grid you could do, which is you just subdivide the board in half and then in half again to arrive at a very large grid. And you might go, well, what's the point of that? But you'd be surprised, because it just helps get your bearings. Usually you're using the, if you're trying to get your bearings when you're making a study or a copy or working from reference, you might be using where an object lies in proximity to the edge of the board, which is in a sense kind of a grid of its own if you think about it. So one thing I want to point out is that in this portion you see in the video right now, I was just painting with a paper towel. Sometimes that can be just the thing to do, especially if you're trying to avoid getting to a bunch of tweaky stuff. And one of the distinguishing characteristics of this particular Inness was that it was very, very sketchy, and the reference image was tiny. It was like 150 pixels by 200. I did enlarge it, but that introduced some strange artifacts, which I had to kind of ignore. It still didn't really give me any apparent detail. There's almost no real small-scale detail on this. Almost all the detail is just in the edges, things like that. Anyway, we're into the color now, so... Oh, no, we're not. We're still in the black and white. Yeah. Are we? I cannot tell. Nope, we're in the color. Thank goodness. So that was only maybe 2 minutes of what was 15 before, and what in the full-length video will end up being like, I think 50 minutes it took me to do the drawing portion of this painting. And then today I have another about 2.5 hours. So the full-length live video will be, I'd say 3.5 hours long, which will, it's not too overwhelming. And I have to say, I think I imparted some pretty good information, especially if you were after the glow, because this painting, I think the glow is what the whole painting's about. And I talk a bit about some of the things I'm doing to pull that off. And the easiest way to get the glow is with a glaze, no question about it. But I try to, I won't say avoid glazing, but I don't glaze as much as I used to, and the reason for that is because it really has these paintings are already quite dark. Tonalism tends to be fairly dark, and the glazing just makes it that much darker. The light's got to work through a whole extra layer of pigment, tonal pigment, to bounce back and refract, and that requires more light, more lighting. In the old days, they would put little lights over the pictures. It's not very popular anymore. Well, I suppose on the new, like some of the new TVs or whatever, double as picture frames with the art. Not an OLED though. That's what I have. That thing's, known for having burn-in if you keep any image on for any length of time, but also displays a wonderful range of colors, the best in the shop, which is why I bought it. Without really being aware of the burning issue. I'd still buy it again though. Anyway, I digress. So this was a bit of a challenge in the sky bit here, where it's a blue, but it's such a dirty blue, and I have no idea what he started with, but I can tell that he did a lot of glazing on this painting. So I'm sort of replicating some of his glazing effects just with regular paint, which is something you can definitely do. But not to the same degree of luminescence. So I will be giving this a very quick glaze with, I think, Indian yellow. I've been thinking about it since I left the studio today. I'm thinking Indian yellow, but possibly transparent yellow from Gamblin might be the way to go. Or maybe a mix of the two. Yeah. Anyway, you can say I did a kind of gradation from dirty oranges into some more reddy oranges, and up against that tree is a super bright yellow. And I did flash a reference in this briefly, and in the live, you get a chance to look at it. And oh gosh, I know I really should get back into like putting a blog post on my website with each video. It just got to be a bit of work, I think, and that's just because of the way I was approaching it. I may just go in there and put the video link and call it a day. Although, like I said, one of the reasons that I would do that in the past would be to put a reference image of the piece that I'm doing a study after. But you get the idea. It's off on the side there. Another interesting thing about my approach this time was that I think I opened up a lot of the shadow areas a lot more. I believe in my previous study, I just made that whole upper tree mass very dark. Where here I brought in quite a few different tones and some black. And one other thing that happened today, and while I was doing this painting, was I received a tube of lamp black. Now I hadn't purposefully ordered lamp black, but I called to get some other art supplies, and the person at the art supply place was like, "Well, I got your big tube of lamp black," and I'm like, "I didn't order a big tube of lamp black. I always use ivory black." And she's like, "Oh, well, you don't have to take it." And I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead and send it to me, and let's have fun with some lamp black." And I did have fun. And tonight I actually plan on researching some of the chemical differences, because I'm a painting nerd. Okay. But lamp black was from the soot so it's carbon. And ivory black is also carbon, but in the form of burnt bones. So they have two different, places they come from, but they both end up being carbon. Lamp black was warmer, perceptibly maybe 10 to 15% warmer than the ivory black. But when the color gets that dark, it gets quite hard to detect warmth versus cool and that sort of thing. It would be interesting to do a side-by-side scale. But one of the things I'm thinking of is replacing the ivory black that's usually on my palette with the lamp black for a while. because I already have the black spinel one there, which is a quite cool, lovely color, and very flexible. And black spinel is maybe 5 to 10% cooler than ivory black, so it's quite a cool black, and a very pure black. They say it's neutral, 100% neutral, but I don't know. But to me, it's perceptibly cooler. So if I was to go with a neutral black, maybe I'd mix black spinel with um, lamp black, and where they met, we would be in a neutral black. I don't know, and I'm not sure it matters, frankly, because black is black. I want my baby back. Anyway, I will be getting back in the studio this week. I've got a very large study of my favorite Inness painting. Not very large, but by my standards, quite large. I'm just making absolutely certain that that's 100% dry in the first layer so that I can bring it to a glorious finish. That will be one of the super long live videos, and maybe it'll be fun to put links of all my previous takes on that. That might be a good one for anyone that wants to learn how to paint like Inness. I recommend going after that one. It's so rich and brilliant. One of the things that I mentioned in the live that I may have touched on in the drawing session of this painting that I put up was that the grid really helped with his sort of unorthodox approach to composition. Now you can see me laying in the pure lamp black, and it's looking lovely, especially this painting is so warm. Although I do come in with a few coolish grays at the end. Yeah, stay tuned for that. And they are actually designed, they look a little incongruent right now, but they're sort of there to be glazed over. So they're going to be, everything's going to totally look great. Also, I do need to pump up some of the contrast in the sky with the yellows, but I was finding it was sort of fighting me. I just need to build that up layer by layer. So I have a good foundation with the cad yellow I put in today, but it'll be 100% great. Oh, this painting is going to look so great. I am going to have it in the store, and I hope someone picks it up. I just think it came out. Even now, you look at it, and I'm quite proud of the job I did on that sky with all the neutrals and the oranges mixed with the blues. I think it works out really well. And the secret there, I don't mind telling you, since you're probably watching this to garner insights, was raw umber and burn umber. I'll use the raw umber to sort of kill things and neutralize things, but it has a tendency to move into the green area a little bit. And I'll use the burn umber if I don't want the neutralizing to go green at all. I want it to lean more towards a red, and I talk about that in the live version of this video. In fact, I talk about quite a lot. I think I tried to impart quite a lot of information. So if you got an extra 3.5 hours, maybe you take a break from rewatching The Sopranos yet again, and watch my video. Yep. Get a bottle of wine. You're gonna have time to drink it. By the way, you can, if you're in a hurry. Usually, in fact, when I review these, oftentimes I will do so at 1.5 speed. 2 can get a little bit hard to catch things, but 1.5, you won't miss a thing. So I just seem a little more peppy. The other thing you'll notice on some of these live videos is I've been experimenting with different background music. I've been trying to find some free things in the YouTube libraries, and some of it's classical, and I'm not sure if I was actually copyright. I guess I'll find out if I get a strike, and that'll be the end of the Bach, or the Chopin, and that can fall under copyright because somebody's actually performing that, but it came up in my copyright-free search, so hopefully we're going to be good. But just changing things up a little here and there. The Bach was actually quite nice, and then today you'll hear, when I get the live version of this up, you'll hear I had some pretty nice relaxing piano music and things like that, and cafe jazz. things like that. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then at the end, I end up with some of my tunes, which also work out. I think they work real well actually, but sometimes I get a little tired of just hearing that. So I know, how could I get tired of hearing my own music? Anyway, looks like we're close to the end here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Sorry I haven't been a little more prolific with the videos, but I have some, in my downtime I've been working out some very awesome reference. So I have a lot of great ideas for a bunch of paintings I want to do, and some studies as well. So till I get back to good old YouTube with one of those, thank you so much for joining me. And do me a favor, take good care of yourself and all your loved ones, and try and be patient with your with enemies and people that irritate you. And until I see you again, do me another favor, do me a solid. Stay out of trouble.